let's talk about where the national landscape is right now. Rob, I'll start with you. Who would you have at the top of your top 25 right now?
I think there are really only two teams that you can consider for the number one spot right now.
I cannot wait to hear
Okay,
this.
here we go.
I think the first one is, and I would probably have them at number one right now, is Gonzaga.
Okay.
38-point win over a good Baylor team who also beat Arkansas. They whipped up on some mid-majors who, it is what it is. But on paper, like they were –
Whipped up. Didn't they beat Arizona State? No.
Oh, yeah, they did beat Arizona State.
Calling Arizona State a mid-major now.
No, but they played UMass Lowell tonight.
I can't wait till Bobby Hurley.
687.
I'm going to give Bobby Hurley your number.
That's fine. Yeah, you can
go
ahead. He actually has my number.
All right.
So
I'm shocked.
I'm sure he's locked into the field of 68 after dark right now.
Yeah, probably is.
No, I forgot about that. But, yeah, that's a good one, too, because Arizona State actually has looked pretty good. Yeah. I think Gonzaga, I would probably have them at number one. I love the backcourt. I love the versatility. I love the way they can play through their bigs and play through their guards. I think the Caliph Battle edition is a game changer for them in terms of having a guy that can go get you a bucket. And then the other one is Auburn. Auburn beat the absolute brakes off Vermont, who won at UAB. Then they go to Houston in the Toyota Center and beat a Houston team that almost nobody beats. And they've looked the part of a team that could play that way. Now, I would have Gonzaga over them because I think that part of the reason Auburn beat Houston was because they got good Tahad Pettiford. And until we see Tahad Pettiford being able to do that every single night, I would have Gonzaga over Auburn. But if you want to tell me it's Auburn over Gonzaga, then I'm not going to argue with you.
Jeff.
I mean, the reason they beat Houston was because of quality horseplay, first of all. Okay? That's why they beat Houston. Auburn absolutely is in the discussion. Mm-hmm. Absolutely agree. Like, they've been as impressive as anybody. I mean, steamrolling Vermont and then beating Houston at Houston. There's no better win so far this season than that one. You're beating a top 5 team at their place, or at least in their hometown. So I think Auburn is there today. I would give them the number one spot right now. I also think you got to put Kansas in there.
Yep.
I know they haven't looked great. I get it. They're still winning games. They still held on for a win against Carolina at Fog Allen, and they went and they held on for a win against Michigan State. Not a great Michigan State team, but last I checked, they're coached by a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
In a neutral setting. They're not there yet. But nobody's there yet. I mean, Auburn could lay an egg in their next game.
It's
Who
the
knows?
Chiefs and Jayhawks fan overlap of you just figure out a way to win.
Yeah. Exactly, and they do. And again, I don't think they're going to shoot as poorly. When we're at the Champions Classic, one of the semi-arguments we had was Randolph Childress really worrying about their perimeter shooting.
I am.
I'm not.
It's not the perimeter shooting that I'm worried about. They have guys that will make shots, and those shots will come. My concern, and this is why I think when you look at Alabama and Kansas, just for to put those two teams because they were the preseason top 2, right? Neither of them have really looked like Alabama or Kansas in the way that we thought they would. I think that Alabama has a higher ceiling because you could see some of the things that are going wrong and say, okay, that potentially could get fixed, and that's how this can be better.
But if you're telling me you're not sure that they have good enough shooters, and that the system that Nate Oates employs is jacking a ton of threes, but then it won't be fixed.
I think that they do have good enough shooters, and they're just missing those shots right now. When it comes to Kansas, they need to have DeJuan Harris at the point. They need to have KJ Adams at the 4, and they need to have Hunter Dickinson at the 5. And I just think that there is a little bit of a fundamental issue of having a guy that you want to play through in the post when you have 2 non-shooters on the floor as well. And I don't know if that's something where Bill Self can get as creative as he wants. I just think that's going to be something that he has to battle with all season long. And it makes me worried about what they're like. Of course, they can beat anybody in the country on any given night because they have the best coach in college, one of the 2 best coaches in college basketball, maybe the best player in college basketball, and one of the best winners in college basketball in DeJuan Harris, right? They're without a doubt a top 3, 4, 5, whatever you want to call them. They're in that conversation for national championships. I just think that they have a smaller margin for error when it comes to winning some of this stuff, and I'm just not sure if there's if Kansas plays their absolute best game and Alabama plays their absolute best game, I think Alabama was probably better than them. I think Auburn is probably better than them. I think Gonzaga is probably better than them.
Ooh.
But the issue is,
I don't.
The issue is, and the
I'm
flip
not there.
and the flip side is,
I'm not there with Auburn or Gonzaga being better than them. Maybe today. Again,
Yeah.
maybe today, but down the
just-
road, I'm not sure Bill Self can't figure this thing out.
And I'm sure I'm going to continue to get ripped by Kansas fans. Say, Rob is so down on Kansas. I'm not down on Kansas. I said that they're like a top 3 team in America after knocking them down from number 2. Like
Rob hates
really,
Kansas.
they're good. They're really good. I just think that I think that is going to be a difficult thing for him to work through all year, and we're going to be sitting here kind of having these same conversations.
I think some
all
of their
season
best
long.
lineups might honestly can he put KJ Adams on the bench at times? Even as hard as KJ plays, is that the most effective lineup against certain teams at certain times?
Yeah.
It might be.
I mean, he's got to get A.J. Storr going too.
Yep.
Zeke Mayo struggled the other night, but he was awesome against North Carolina.
Yeah,
So,
Rylan Griffin can shoot it. The one thing you can say is Zeke Mayo and Rylan Griffin are both shooters. They are. But I understand what you're saying is it's hard to play both of them.
Yeah, and it's hard to play both of them, and it's hard to get – it's just hard to have DeJuan Harris and KJ Adams on the floor at the same time when you're running everything through a big guy.
Yep.
And, look, if you want to use Hunter Dickinson as a floor spacer and a passer out of the high post, yeah, he can do some of that stuff. But you're also taking away what he does best and what Bill Self is great at in creating steals and opportunities where you just throw the ball and you get a layup. So I would probably have Gonzaga, Auburn, Kansas as my top 3 right now. Would you disagree with any of that?
Yeah, I would go.
You know what I want? Here, let me ask you
I
this.
would probably go Auburn 1 because they've had the most impressive win. I would probably put Kansas 2. And I'm not as sold on Gonzaga as everybody is right now. I'm just not. I need to see more Gonzaga. I think, again, they came out of the gates so well. Well, no. I think they've got an advantage that they came out of the gates so well.
They might have the best point guard in college basketball, and you love point guards.
Yep,
right?
I do. Yep.
They can play out of the post with one of Graham Ike or Braden Huff.
Yep.
If they want to go with a 2-big look, they can
Ben
play
Gregg.
Ben Gregg at the 4.
Yep.
If you want to go smaller, you can play Michael Ajayi at the 4, right? They got floor spacers in Dusty Stromer and Nolan
I think
Hickman.
other teams have higher upsides.
How's
that?
They have a guy that can go out and get you 20 and a half in a dogfight if you need to in Caleb Battle. They got everything. They're so balanced. Now, the one thing I will give you is they don't have the same level of NBA talent that some of these other teams in that same kind of conversation
Their ceiling isn't quite as high. They're so good coming out of the gates because they return basically everybody but Battle.
And it's going to be perfect for them because they're going to beat up this difficult
Everybody.
non-conference schedule they got. Then they're going to get to the WCC
And crush
and
'em.
steamroll everybody in the WCC.
And then